Shabbat Shalom. This week's Parsha, Parshat Vayetze, we have one of the most famous scenes from the Bible, Jacob's dream in which we see so-called Jacob's ladder. This is a very complex dream, and I would like to offer you some thoughts of my own as to how it is to be interpreted. My interpretation owes a great deal to an article I read in Hebrew by a man by the name of Yitzhak Peleg, who teaches Bible at one of the colleges in Tel Aviv, and I'll put a link in the description. So when I say complex, I'm not just throwing out one of these terms that makes it sound interesting. I mean something specific, that it's made up of two components. The veridical dreams, the prophetic dreams, can easily or conveniently be classified into two main groups. What we may call revelatory dreams, in which the person who dreams hears a heavenly voice, presumably the voice of God, giving a clear message, saying clear words that can be understood rather simply. And then we have the symbolic dream, in which there's a sort of vision, a scene acts itself out. An example of the revelatory dream would be, for example, the dream that Avimelech, the king of the Plishtim, received after he unlawfully seized Sarah, Abraham's wife, and he had a dream in which a voice told him, "You're going to die for this." In Chamet al-Isha Azot. The symbolic dreams are the dreams such as those jumped by the two ministers of Paro who were thrown into jail with Yosef. And the big difference is, as we know, that the dreams of those two people, the Sarah Mashkim and Sarah Ophim, the cupbearer and the baker, were a mystery to the people who dreamt them, and they had to be interpreted. Whereas the revelatory dream, the dream in which Avimelech heard this voice saying, "You're going to die," didn't need any interpretation at all. And as soon as he woke up, he made darn sure that he was going to take care of that issue that had brought him so close to extinction. Now, Yaakov's dream is complex because it's made up of both. There are two sections, each beginning with the classical biblical word vehine. The first is a symbolic. It's a vision. Vehine sullam mutzav arza u'malachei Elohim olim yordim bo, the sullām and the angels that are going up and coming down. And the second part is Vinay, and we have a divine voice giving him all sorts of reassuring promises that he will have a huge amount of descendants, that God will take care of him on this journey that he's about to undertake and bring him back safely to the land which he has left. So the question I'd like to ask is, do the two parts of the dream, the symbolic part with which the dream opens and the revelatory part which comes afterwards, address the same issue, speak about the same thing? And in order to try to give some sort of answer, we have to, of course, try to understand the symbolic part. The revelatory part is clear enough. God's promises that Yaakov will have many, many descendants, that he will be preserved, God will take care of him, will watch over him on his journey and bring him back to Eretz Yisrael. But what does the first part of the dream, the symbolic part, what does that mean? Well, to understand that, we have to first understand what the sullam is. And I mentioned that because it's almost anyone you ask will say, "Oh, well, it's a ladder. It's the type of thing you can go into home center and buy, the thing that everyone has in their house somewhere." But actually, that's not at all clear, because the word sullām is a hapax, as they say in academia, or chidai, as they say in Hebrew, which means basically simply that it's the only time in the entire Tanakh that this word sullām appears. And whenever you have a word like that, it appears only once in all of Scripture, you have a problem understanding exactly what it means, because you have to work your way around just through just this one example. And so it's possible that it means ladder. It depends on how we treat this final mem, because in Hebrew, a final mem doesn't necessarily belong to the root. In some archaic forms, it's an ending. For example, in the word mayim for water, the mem at the end is not part of the root. It's an archaic ending. Probably true for shamayim as well, for heaven, for words like chinam, free. So it's possible that the mem, it does not belong to the root, in which case the root would be just samech lamed or samech lamed lamed. And in that case, the word sullam would have the same meaning as misilah, another word, the more common word constructed from the root salal, which means path, a path that has been cleared. And actually, if we interpret sulam as masilah, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because there are parallels to Joseph's dream in some of the later prophets in terms of the promise to bring Israel back to our homeland, to bring the Jewish people back to our homeland. And in fact, it fits the context of the dream, because the dream occurs to Yaakov when he's running away from his brother Esav, who's out to kill him. And Yaakov is obviously visibly stressed, as anyone would be if their own brother is out to kill him. And when they have to leave the country and the surroundings in which they grew up to a brand new foreign land where who knows what will happen. And so it's clear that this was the purpose of the revelatory part, where God reassures Yaakov, I will preserve you, I will take care of you, you will have many descendants, and I'll bring you back. And it will be nice to be able to interpret the symbolic part in the same way, where the sullam is a misilah. It's the path which Yaakov is about to embark on to his cousins up north, and God saying, before you go on this road, which the road to the unknown, I'm promising to take care of you and watch over you. Now, clearly, there are some problems trying to interpret the symbolic part as the highway leading from Eretz Yisrael to Haran, because the Torah speaks of a sulam mutzav artzav rosho magia shemaima, that's planted on the earth, but the top reaches to the heavens. But actually, it's not all that difficult. As a matter of fact, there are some difficulties with biblical usage taken as it is. Many commentators point out to the fact that it seems odd that if the angels are in heaven, as most of us seem to believe, then the Torah should say that the angels are coming down from heaven and then going back up. But instead, the Torah says, Malach Elohim olim v'yordim bo. It's the order of events is reversed. And so Rashi says, well, what's really going on here is that the angels that accompanied him in Eretz Yisrael are going back up to heaven, and a new set of angels who are assigned to Chutz La'aretz are coming down to protect him. So he's also interpreting this part of the version of the dream, at least in some way, as describing Yaakov's journey. Nonetheless, we still have the issue of the connection between heaven and earth, and so I think the only way to resolve this is to say that the journey from Eretz Yisrael to Haran is not just a journey along the surface of the earth to another locale to the north, but it's leaving a place that is directly connected to heaven, Eretz Yisrael, to a place which is much further removed, and that connects with Yaakov's spontaneous exclamation when he woke up in the morning that this place that I slept in was Beit Elohim v'shar hashamayim, a house of God and the gates to heaven. And so this, I think, puts the whole dream connected together, the two parts, and puts it in context. The dream was a result of Yaakov's stress and anxiety about having to leave the Eretz Yisrael, the place where he grew up, the place where he felt at home, and go to the great unknown, to his cousins in Haran, and it has God's promise to preserve him and bring him back. But it also it connects to the Yaakov's spiritual distancing, the spiritual galut, the spiritual exile that he will feel in Haran, and promising to bring him back to Eretz Yisrael and to the place which is the house of God and the gate to heaven. So I hope you find some interest in this interpretation, and thank you for your attention.